Welcome back to the Plug-in for More podcast. In today's episode, we're going to talk about a handful of news stories. We're going to hit on the Mustang Mach-E recall, the Tesla Cybertruck updates, and Bryant gets new tires for his EV6. This particular intro went off the rails when we recorded it together. We got interrupted by Renee, Bryant's wife, and hope you enjoy her contributions to our podcast. Also, when you get a chance, please rate and review our show wherever it is that you're listening to your podcasts. Those reviews do help us immensely, and we love to see your comments and suggestions for future episodes. Enjoy.
Welcome to Plug In for More, brought to you by EVUniverse.com. EV Universe is your one-stop shop for all things related to the electric vehicle. Here on this podcast, our goal is to educate, inspire, and hopefully make your transition into the electric vehicle marketplace a lot less intimidating. And now, here are your hosts, Mike, Tom, and Bryant.
Oh, wait, what's going on here?
We have a special guest.
Oh, so special.
Oh my goodness.
Can
Renee's
we
back.
interrupt the Mach-E? Can we interrupt the Mach-E story for a second?
Sure.
So Renee had a fascinating drive home last night. She drove home behind the new Rivian SUV, and right in front of that was the EV Hummer. So I wanted to invite her on the podcast to get her reflections around which one she liked the best. And we all know that she loved that EV Hummer like to death. But now that she's seen the Rivian RS1 in person, like following.
Well, R1S, come on, it's got bad headlights. Everyone knows this. I got the truck, but
sorry, Mike.
That hurts my soul.
It's just bad headlights. So anyway, Renee, what were your thoughts following those vehicles for 20 miles last night?
My thoughts are I like them both. They're great. So the neighbor has the Hummer, which is pretty exciting that it's a neighbor, like right there, right around the corner. So I don't know this neighbor at all, but I'm wondering.
Yet.
Exactly. Who just said that? Tom? Okay, you are my new best friend. Yes. So yet, because we're going to be acquainted, because I want to take that one for a ride.
Yeah, last podcast, Tom was definitely not your friend at all. I mean, no offense, Renee, but you're jumping friends like crazy here. I mean, I don't know.
I do that. It's it's
all
whoever
right.
Yeah, he's never been very nice before, so this is good trend. We'll set this up. We'll keep this going.
All right.
Anywho, yeah, that thing is sweet. You all know I've been wanting a Hummer ever since I knew they were coming out as an EV. I love that thing. But I was pleasantly surprised by the Rivian SUV. Following that home, I know not a whole lot about it, but by the looks of it, it was pretty sweet. I did tell Mike through text, or maybe I was thinking it. I can't remember, but the headlights don't bother me that much.
That's what I think a lot of people with the SUV are more comfortable with the overall look versus the truck, and it seems like they're more popular. I mean, in North Carolina, they're everywhere now. I see them a couple times a day.
Of course, I was following it, so I saw the rear more the entire way. But it was really sharp looking. Overall, I thought I would be happy with that as well, Bryant.
I think that you should get both.
Yeah, you deserve both. Is what we
this is great. We are best friends now.
Right. I know this. I support you and your endeavors to have multiple EVs.
Thank you.
I have one more question for Renee. There's new tires on the EV6. Did you know that?
Did I know that? Well, I knew you were getting them. Have I noticed any sound change in the vehicle or anything like that? Have I noticed any difference? No. So that's good, right?
That's good. We'll talk about the tires in a minute, but I was just curious. I did not prompt her with that question. That was right out of the blue.
It's a great question.
It's a really good question. Hard hitting.
Yes, and when Bryant only goes 25 miles an hour, that's probably why you don't hear or feel any difference.
Wait, you know that about him?
Yeah, I grew up with him. I know.
Like, I'm so serious. He yells at me all the time.
I know what for going the speed limit. I know it's difficult, but
for going the speed limit, yes.
I have to defend myself. She's going like 85, and the range is like dropping off a cliff. And that's what I'm talking to her about. Don't go 85. That's too
But
fast.
my point is, what is the point of having an EV then if you can't go the speed that it was made for? Like, that's just lame. If you
Don't
can't
worry,
use
Renee. We can cut out Brian's comments. No one will hear that. So
it frustrates me so much. That's the whole thing with EVs. I could talk more people into them if we could just get all of them a little bit more to their range, I think. There's a guy at work who gives me crap every day about EVs, but I finally had him admit today that if more of them had a bigger range, he'd be all for it. All right,
All
well,
right.
thanks. Anything
Thank you,
else for
Renee.
me?
It was good to see you.
yes.
I'm sure it was. Anytime. Okay, I'll leave you to it.
All right, see ya.
Wow.
So that happened.
Where do we go from there?
I don't know. Well, it's your life. So, Bryant, I know that you've got those new tires that Renee mentioned, those cross climate. What do you think? It's Michigan in the fall, so we haven't hit, you haven't got any snow yet, but do you like them? Louder, better road feel? What do you think?
Yeah, so I did a poll on our Key EV6 Facebook group that we manage, and there's a lot of tires thrown out there. The original tires I have in my car have 26,000 miles on them. They're the Kumos that come with the vehicle, specifically filled with foam for EVs to keep them quiet. So the highest recommendation from our Facebook poll was the Michelin Cross Climate 2. They have a good, and I did a ton of reviewing. They really are supposed to do good in the winter, but they're not a full winter tire. So I've had them a week. I've only put about 400 miles on them. But I would say so far, I'm actually very surprised. They're not an EV specific tire, but they're an EV compatible tire. So I'd say if you're looking at tires, make sure it's EV compatible. That I think will help cut down the noise. But they're very, very quiet. I don't notice a difference between them and the stock OEMs. The traction and wet is way better. We haven't had snow yet, and the range has not been affected. In fact, like these ones, I'm actually optimistic because Volvo uses these on their EVs, so that made me more comfortable. I'm taking a 1,000-mile road trip this week to Indianapolis, so after that, I'll be able to report back a full range impact, if any, and road noise at 75, 80. But as of this week, 400 or 500 miles on them, I think they're killer. I highly, highly recommend them.
Very cool.
Awesome.
So we are all aware of Mike's multiple reservations for the Cybertruck, and I know that you're anxiously awaiting some sort of idea or some sort of notification that yours is getting delivered or configured or something. But where are you at with it?
Well, that's a good question. So let's talk about how the reservations are being handled or supposedly being handled and what order and that kind of thing. Because that's been a big thing that some companies are putting out different lists of, where you stand on your reservation number and that kind of thing. So it's really when those came out, the reservations opened up. Everyone got their reservation number, and it's looks like there's well over 1 million reservations of those things. So where you are in line really matters if you're hoping to get it soon, especially because the production is not going to be anywhere near the demand for the next few years. So if you want one soon, either you're gonna have to really pay up on the aftermarket or hopefully you're early on in the line. Now, there's a couple different tools out there, and I'm not going to name names, but they, supposedly say, when you're going to get your vehicle, based on a couple factors. If it's anything like the Model 3 rollout or what I'm hearing from internal and Tesla employees currently, that is not going to be the case. You can take those calculators out and just kind of throw them away. So there's a couple different things that are going to impact when you get your vehicle. One is where you are in your reservation, your reservation number. Number two is if it's like Model 3, if you have a previous Tesla, if you currently own one, where you are in the geographical area versus where they're going to distribute these things, because they're not going to send a truck just one at a time out to some random place. They're going to go to service centers, and obviously from there they're going to do full truckloads, so where the most demand is, and also probably closer to Texas where these things are coming from. And finally, it's also the configuration. And so all those things combined, trying to figure out if someone already has a Tesla, where that factors in, and how Tesla's truly going to roll these out by geographical area, and if there's other criteria that they have in there. I think it's really anyone's guess when you're going to get that. I've got some pretty early reservation numbers, but being in North Carolina, I'm not that far from Texas. I'm a lot closer than people in California, but I don't think I'm gonna get mine super, super early. I mean, technically, I'm in the first 15,000 or so reservations, but time will tell. I'm just saying, if you look at those calculators online, take it with a huge grain of salt and look at it as maybe something fun, but it's not gonna be really accurate.
So
Cool.
I listened to Tesla's earnings call on Wednesday, Q3 earnings call. We're recording this in late October. I want to just throw this out there. This is a quote from Musk. We dug our own grave with the Cybertruck. It's one of those special products that comes along only once in a while, and special products that come along only once in a long time are just incredibly difficult to bring to market to reach volume to be prosperous. And then he continued on to talk about, I want to temper expectations for the launch, which will be on November 30th. He talked about there's going to be enormous challenges reaching volume with the Cybertruck because of all of the technology and then the shape of the vehicle, and then obviously the components of the vehicle, and obviously it being stainless steel. So I think you're right, Mike. I think obviously it's going to launch and there'll be vehicles out there, but I think Musk did a good job warning investors like, hey, this thing's not going to be like, the Model X or Model Y that's producing thousands and thousands of these things a week or a month.
Yeah, and as far as warning investors, I mean the stock took a huge tank this morning. So, um, just warn them all you like, it's still gonna hurt the stock. So, we'll
Hmm.
we'll see. Yeah, long term, I still think the future is really bright for Tesla, but yeah, their stock did not like that earnings call at all, and obviously they were retooling plants and that sort of thing, and that obviously impacted their overall production numbers. The Model 3 Highland update coming out, and obviously we have probably the Model Y doing the same thing in the near future too. So lots of things impacting that for sure.
Yep, I would agree.
So, Tom, the Mustang Mach-E had a recall, and it was pretty much because people are flooring it. It looks like and stepping on the accelerator, and it's causing problems. And it looks like there's also a charging issue as well. I want to expand on that? Any issues you're seeing with your Mach-E?
I have not had any issues of mine. Now, this recall impacts the 2021, 2022 models. Mine's a 23, so I do believe that issue was corrected before mine was made. But the issue that's at play is that the high voltage battery junction box just cannot handle the full power of that acceleration. So, as you do with an electric vehicle, like your wife so eloquently pointed out, Bryant, if you're not going to go fast, what's the point of it? That's probably the Mustang motto, right? So it's a good thing they're getting that fixed. But I know there's been a lot of people that have been hit by that error, and then they got to pull the car over and get it towed to Ford and get it fixed. But hopefully, this will get it put behind us and get everyone else back on the road.
All right, I gotta go back to the Cybertruck real quick. Just a few posts on social media that I just saw a few seconds ago was the Cybertruck has underwent Al Capone style bulletproof testing with a Tommy gun, and this is what Elon Musk has revealed on X, aka former Twitter, and it shows a Cybertruck running on the highway with about 40 or 50 bullet holes in the side of this truck. I mean, it's ridiculous. And I will pause it and show the gentleman on the call here so they can see it. This is what they're driving around.
Okay.
Or maybe it's just a disgruntled employee.
Okay, yeah. That's always an option. Now, here's my prediction, and I don't like to even say this or guess at all, but if they're showing that out there of a Cybertruck riddled with bullet holes, they've already said that the glass is not going to be bulletproof like they originally were planning with it. People are going to shoot these trucks just to see. I am guaranteeing this. Like, it's not necessarily owners, but other people are going to do this crap.
So
I think it's a bad idea.
listener, go to our YouTube channel and subscribe, because when Mike gets his truck, Tom and I are going to fly down to North Carolina and just shoot the crap out of it and see what happens.
No, no, that's not what I'm saying. I think there's gonna be just random people will shoot the trucks. That's what I'm saying. I'm thinking, to me, this scares the crap out of me. I think they're gonna do stupid stuff with this thing. If they're already promoting it like that,
I could see that.
they're testing it. I don't know.
It's problematic to that lowest common denominator for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Ah,
No, Tom, do you have any thoughts being former law enforcement here?
I was just thinking about what gun are we going to shoot your truck with when we get it. I mean, we could bring the 223 down. That'll probably punch through it. I'd be confident. But if it stopped a handgun round, that'd be cool.
That's not what I was asking.
I'm still on this YouTube idea of us shooting your truck when you get it. I think this is
know.
one of Brian's best ideas.
Right?
If we shoot my truck, I'm shooting your Mustang Mach-E. That's all I'm saying.
Well, my Mustang Mach-E isn't bulletproof.
Well, that apparently wasn't either. If you look at the side of that Cybertruck, there's holes riddled through that whole thing. It didn't look very bulletproof to me.
Yeah. No, I definitely could see that being like one of those TikTok trends where people start doing stuff. And I mean, I would hope common sense would prevail, but
I mean, if people are eating like Tide Pods, I mean, what's the difference here? I mean, like, I'm just saying.
yeah.
I mean, listener, we want you to weigh in. Like, let's convince Mike to shoot his truck. Like, we want to hear from you. Like, let's get like a groundswell going, because I want to shoot his truck. So I'll tell a quick story. When I got my new tires on, the woman asked me how I liked the EV at the tire change place at Costco, and I said I loved it, of course. And she made this comment to me. Well, it's gonna suck in 3 years when you have to get a new battery, because battery replacements on EVs are every 3 years. And I just smirked and said, well, the Kia EV6 has actually a 10-year battery warranty, and there's there's a law basically out there that all manufacturers have to provide these warranties. And then obviously, we talked a lot in this podcast about battery degradation, but Tesla has a study out. I'll let Mike talk about it because he's had Teslas, but like, long story short, it shows like battery degradation is not nearly as bad as people are thinking. And Tesla's the only manufacturer really that's had vehicles out there in mass that are 10 plus years old. Like, there's some Nissan Leafs and some others out there, but Tesla's really the one that can like talk about this and have credibility. So Mike, what is it showing? What are these studies showing?
Yeah, well, let's kind of get the first elephant out of the room. So Nissan Leafs, the original ones, they definitely did have some degradation issues, and I think let's kind of take those out because a lot of those vehicles are at 50% capacity, and they've made a bunch of updates to them, and there's it's a well-known fact, and so they kind of worked around that issue. But Tesla, you're right. So I'll give you again real quick background on my Tesla owning experience. I still have a Tesla Roadster. It's at this point 13 years old, has about 15% battery degradation after that time frame. It only has 12,000 miles, but a lot of degradation with the batteries. It's not only cycles, but it's also time. So that car has done very, very well. I've had Model S's, Model X's, a couple Y's. I've driven a ton of threes. So we've had hundreds of thousands of miles in Teslas over the years, not including some of the Rivian and newer vehicles we've had. That being said, what this article is showing, and I can attest to this from everything I've seen owning these vehicles, is Tesla saying they're this is their 2022 impact report, a 12% battery degradation after 200,000 miles. So that means 88% of the original capacity. And that's really looking, I mean, they've got really good telematics in how they're pulling that data. And so I am sure that's accurate information. And really that's, I think what we're seeing across the industry is that's about right. It hits about 10% after 2 or 3 years as far as degradation goes. And then it's really flat lined after that. And 200,000 miles, obviously there's gonna be a lot of supercharging in there. I mean, these batteries are holding up really, really well. I think there's something to be said for making sure the battery's in good condition, so it's not going to have a big failure. But as far as the degradation goes, overall, know that it's going to have some, and this is probably where you're going to end up. But this whole thing about replacing them 3 years out, you get 200,000 miles, it's a big problem. And that's kind of it.
So I've been watching our Facebook groups, and as winter approaches, always this time of year, people are asking what they should do in the winter. We've covered this on previous topics, but I want to ask this question of you guys because I think most EVs come with a recommendation to charge to 80%. But then also it's cycle times, right? So it's number of charges. So what I'm adopting on my EV6, which I'd love to get your guys' input if you think I'm stupid or if you think it's good, is if I charge to 90%, I just get that much more range where I can actually only charge it twice a week versus in the winter, if I only charge it to 80%, I have to charge it 4 times a week. I know that seems weird, but that's the way that my driving style, my math goes. And so I'm actually charging it to 90% and only charging it twice. And I'm actually getting rid of 2 charging cycles. And I don't also let it go below, 30% as well. So I'm going from 30 to 90 twice instead of 30 to 84. What are your thoughts on that? Because that seems to make more sense for me. I'm eliminating 2 cycles a week, 52 weeks a year. I'm getting rid of 100 charging cycles. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, the traditional recommendation has always been ABC, always be charging and keeping it at a stayed level, so it's not a full cycle, right? It's a partial cycle. Um, I think it really has to do with the battery chemistry on that particular vehicle versus other ones out there. As far as charging all the way down and going back up, to me, I would keep it at 80% and just keep it always plugged in. That's probably how I would do it rather than hitting top of the range, because that puts more stress on the batteries from everything I've learned over the years. So even though you're gonna be charging more, it's gonna be for a lot less and put less strain on that battery because you're not hitting the top end.
And for me, the Ford recommendations are to 90%, and I just keep it plugged in all the time so that it charges to that. And then the preconditioning works out a lot better, especially in that winter time. Like I love being able to set my departure time for 7:30 in the morning or at noon, whenever I know within reason that I'm going to be leaving the house again, so that that car is always warm and ready to go, and batteries topped off and all that good stuff we've talked about before. All right, gentlemen, thank you for taking the time to sit down for another conversation, and I look forward to talking to you again in a couple weeks.
Sounds good, guys.
Bye, guys.
See ya.
Thank you for listening to Plug In for More. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. In the meantime, check out the one-stop EV marketplace, evuniverse.com. Until next time.